Hey guys, Sam here, and welcome to a new review, the first one of 2023, and the first re-review of 2023. And yes, I shaved off my mustache. You're welcome. Anyway, so what am I re-reviewing? Well, it is the Family Guy episode, New Kidney in Town. Family Guy, a very popular adult animated show that is still going, still on people's minds, still making new episodes, still makes people create compilation videos, and still manages to shock people, and I barely talk about it at all. Why is that? Well, there are a few reasons. One, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's not the worst in humor, animation, or writing. There is effort that goes into it, but sometimes the humor doesn't gel with me. I've seen other shows that are better animated, and there are times when the over-explaining type of writing gets in the way of the overall plot, characters, and tone. Two, I've tried to stay out of the rabbit hole of constantly reviewing episodes from the show again and again and again. I don't want what happened with me in Teen Titans Go to happen with me in Family Guy. And three, a lot of episodes from the show have been covered by many internet critics, Mr. Enter, Ellis Mark, Tariq, Nerdstalgic, and more. So I've normally stayed away from this show because I didn't feel like I had any more points to add. We know the episodes that stink, and we know the episodes that are classics. But I do remember why I took a look at New Kidney in Town back in 2016, about 7 years ago. It was because I thought it was overlooked and kind of underrated. I felt the episode was more complete and better put together than other episodes, especially since it came out in Season 9. Plus, there's still not that many people that talk about it even to this day. I mean, true, there are a couple that do, but it's not the majority. It's not like Brian's a bad father. You can find so many videos about that. Or you can find reviews of many Brian and Stewie adventures. You could definitely find those, but not of New Kidney in Town. I think I could sort of understand that, for a couple reasons. One, it may be overlooked, and it doesn't really get noticed that much. And two, and this is just a personal preference thing, I think a lot of people really do like this show, mainly for its many out of context funny moments, particularly its cutaways. Not all of them stink, some can be funny, but they do hijack the flow of the story a little too much in my eyes. That being said, I think many like them when they are in compilation videos. It doesn't matter which one you find, if there is a compilation of them, you may find them to be funnier there compared to when you saw them in the episode they appeared in. There's some that may not care too much about the story or what it's really trying to say too much, while others do. I'm sure not everyone is like that on either side, people have their own opinions on the show, but you can't rule out any of these possibilities either. Anyway, I originally thought the cutaways were funny in New Kidney in Town when I first reviewed the episode, but do I still feel the same way now? And do I still think that the episode is good in my eyes? Has it gotten better, or has it actually gotten worse over time? Well, let's go ahead and find out. And you know the drill at this point. Summary first, thoughts after, plus some fun facts, and a short joke barrage at the end. Good? Good. Let's begin. So it starts with Peter, Quagmire, and Joe chatting it up at the clan. They start doing a bunch of would you rathers, and one of them involves either building a new roof on a condo complex, or having dinner and sex with Megan Fox's body that has Leonard Nimoy's head on it. Let me know what your answer is in the comments. When it's Peter's turn, he just says boxers or briefs. He said that because he's so tired. Turns out Brian and another dog in the neighborhood kept him awake all night. So Quagmire and Joe recommend him to try Red Bull. He's even given one in the house. He tries it and... well, I normally don't do skits that much anymore. I don't want them to be crammed into my reviews like I did before, but in the spirit of reliving my nostalgia, I will do exactly what I did in my original review of it when this moment popped up.
So, what do you think?
So yeah, he becomes addicted to Red Bull fast. He constantly drinks it, is hyper all the time, talks fast, moves fast, and his newfound speed makes him a contestant on The Price is Right, which leads to him spinning the wheel so hard that it comes off and rolls away, crushing everyone in its path. Eventually, his wife Lois gets rid of all the Red Bull to prevent him from going crazier, so Peter tries to make his own Red Bull, complete with kerosene. Brian warns him that it'll kill him, but Peter drinks it anyway, which leads to him not only passing out, but poisoning himself so badly that he destroys his kidneys. Dr. Hartman says that he could get a new donated kidney, but he is on a long waiting list. So for the time being, he's put on dialysis. He manages to stay on it for a few weeks, but he eventually says that he can't take it anymore. So he blows off going to dialysis for one day so he can watch a show at the Clam. That ends up being a bad mistake, because he begins to turn yellow, vomits up blood, and passes out again. Thankfully he is okay, but after that close call, Lois demands that he gets a kidney transplant now before it's too late. Unfortunately, he's still on the long list. Lois isn't a match, and she doesn't want the kids involved in this. So, Brian throws his hat into the ring and asks if he could be a perfect match. Dr. Hartman later checks and finds out that Brian is a match, but there is a fatal consequence. Since dog kidneys are smaller than human kidneys, Peter would need 2 for the surgery. Brian only has 2. This means that if the surgery happens, Brian will die. But despite knowing that, he decides to do it anyway, because he feels this is the best way to thank Peter for taking him into his home all those years ago. Later that night, Brian has some final words for Lois, Meg, and Chris before the big day comes tomorrow. Unfortunately, Stewie finds out about it after eavesdropping, so Stewie, being Stewie, kidnaps Brian and demands him to not do this. But Brian has already made up his mind, telling Stewie that he can live without a dog, but not without a dad. This leads to Stewie breaking down, crying, and snotting all over himself. And yes, it is gross, but also kind of funny too. Anyway, Brian convinces Stewie to let him go. By the next day, the surgery is about to take place. But thankfully, in the nick of time, Dr. Hartman tells everyone that he is a perfect match too, and is willing to give up one of his kidneys for Peter. So yeah, Peter and Brian both get to live. So that's the main plot. Now what about the subplot? Well, this one involves Meg and Chris. President Barack Obama, God, that feels like such a long time ago, is visiting Quahog in James Woods High School, before it was renamed after Adam West. Because he's visiting, Chris is told to write an essay about hope. The problem is that he can't really do it, so he asks Meg what hope is. Meg tells him in a long speech, and Chris writes it all down. He submits the essay to his class later and is told that not only was his essay the best in the class, but the school wants him to read it to President Obama when he comes to the school. But Meg gets upset with Chris over copying her words and passing it off as his own. Chris fires back by saying that she didn't say anything about not writing it down and using it. The two bicker for a bit, but after the stuff with Peter and Brian is settled, the two compromise and decide to read the essay together on the big day. The essay is read so passionately by both of them, and it leads to a big round of applause by the audience. And the episode ends with President Obama singing and playing guitar in a tight gold suit for the crowd. If only he did end his time in office this way. The end. So that's the episode. What are my thoughts? Well, I'll talk about the cutaways first since I was so critical of them before. I originally found them to be kind of funny the first time I watched them, but now that I've seen them again, they actually did get funnier. Brian keeping Peter up all night, Lois dumping the Red Bull out the window, only to lead to the flower growing tall, coming to life, leaving the garden, and then hijacking someone's car, and the show Peter, Quagmire, and Joe watch and riff on. True, there is another one that involves Charlotte Bronte, I hope I said that name right, and her sister Anne, and that one was a little pointless, but I do give it points for making me look up the women involved and how bizarre this moment is.
Oh, Emily, Wuthering Heights was truly splendid.
Oh, no, Charlotte. Jane Eyre was so very brilliant.
I made blood up my lady pots. Good for you. So we've all done something. It's happening now.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, did you notice something? There's not that many cutaways in this one, which I do think is a good thing. If you want cutaways in something, that's fine, but don't use too many of them and don't have them outshine the story you are trying to tell. Not only did this episode manage to handle them well, but some of the cutaways are actually important to the story. One shows why Peter was kept awake all night, one shows Lois dumping the Red Bull like she said, and one leads to Peter almost killing himself. I'm surprised and pretty thankful that these moments did hold up for me. But there is more I like. One thing I've tried to do with Family Guy is not take everything they do too seriously. Obviously, Brian trying to eat Peter when he thinks he's dead is obviously a joke. Not the best joke, but I get it. They want to make you laugh. The episode does do a decent job of letting you know when it can be funny, but also when it's being serious. That's what I like too. The serious moments are done well. Brian willingly giving up his life to help Peter is one of the most selfless things he's ever done. Over the years, his likability has kind of plummeted with many fans and other animation fans. People call him selfish, egotistical, narcissistic, all the other names and above. But in this one, he's not doing it to gain fame or, just to, spite somebody else or anything like that. He's actually doing it because he genuinely cares about Peter and wants to give them a longer life. And he basically just spells it out right here.
Peter, you're my best friend. You gave me a home when I didn't have one, and you've treated me like a family member ever since. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I want to return the favor. After all, I'm a dog. I have another 8 years at best. I'm willing to give that up so you can have another 40.
Yeah, that's a very emotional moment right there. You do feel sorry for both of them and want to see them come out okay. I also like the moment between Stewie and Brian, too. You do understand why Stewie kidnapped him and why he doesn't want to let him go. Sure, that final moment was a little gross, but I will admit it actually did get funnier the more times I saw it, especially if you actually see other people's reactions to it.
Can I have a hug, Brian? Oh, no, God, no, not now, no. I want a hug. No, just wait. Oh, God, there's no Kleenex. Go roll around in the sandbox, in the summer house. Go to the summer house and roll around.
That still kills me to this day. Also, the subplot was handled fine too. Both Meg and Chris have legitimate arguments behind the essay. Chris did use Meg's words as his own, but Meg never said he couldn't use them, and she never wrote them down. In the end, I'm glad they did come to a compromise, and I think it was a great move to have that happen after the kidney stuff was taken care of. The speech is also good too. Here, I'll read it, instead of just playing the clip. I think you know why. Hope is what gets you out of bed in the morning when it's the day of prom and you haven't been asked. Hope pushes the caterpillar through the cocoon and drives the salmon upstream. Your breasts may be small and your glasses may be thick, but hope doesn't hold up a mirror. Hope is a horizon we head for, leaving nothing behind us but fear. And though we may never reach our goals, it's hope that will save us from who we once were. That's actually a decent speech. And yes, the ending with Obama is pretty funny too.
If you're really sincere, if you're really sincere, if you feel it in here, then it's gotta be right, oh baby, oh honey.
Now, if you're wondering what my thoughts on Red Bull are, well, to put it simply, I hate it. I don't like it. I've never drank it, and I will never ever drink it. Why? Well, according to Branson's, Red Bull can give you these side effects.
Anxiety, high blood pressure, high stress, caffeine sensitivity, blood clotting disorders, chronic fatigue, and cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, I'm not touching any of that stuff. Now look, if you like it and you want to continue drinking it, fair enough. Go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Hell, I know I can't stop you. But just be careful, please. Drink responsibly. If you continue drinking it unhealthily, it could damage your teeth and increase your risk of a heart attack because it might make your blood sticky. Yeah, sticky blood. And if you don't think that's bad, look it up. It really is. It's just like when I was talking about the Radium Girls in my last video, the Sam Talks one, talking about 1,000 Ways to Die. It's pretty grim. So, with all that said, is there stuff that doesn't work for me? Well, other than the one cutaway being kind of pointless, which I get is the point, but it wasn't the funniest, I think the family not telling Stewie about Brian's decision was kind of stupid. If he was a regular baby character or a regular kid character, I can kind of understand why they wouldn't tell him, but this is Stewie, Brian's best friend. Him and Brian have been together for some of the most memorable adventures ever in the show's history. Obviously he would be upset with this, especially when he had to find out for himself. He should have been told. Here's what I would have done as a writer. The scene at the playground can still happen, but maybe Stewie can learn about Brian's choice at the hospital. He then looks down from the staircase back at home and goes, "No, I can't let this happen." Then he carries on with his plan to kidnap him. In my opinion, that's how it should have gone down. And about the dog kidneys trying to save Peter thing, yes, obviously, it probably would have been complicated and maybe it wouldn't have worked, but it wasn't really supposed to be an episode that was supposed to say, oh yeah, this is something that could really happen in real life. No, this was just an episode that really showed just how much Brian cares about Peter. And as far as we know, pig organs have been the best animal organ that could actually be a good replacement and a good donation for other human beings. As for other animals, we don't know. It will be probably another 50-something years before that scientific breakthrough happens. But other than those issues, I really don't have anything else to say, but I like this episode. In the end, it had funny jokes, decent pacing, nice serious moments, many memorable moments, and the ending was good too. It's certainly not the best episode on the show, but I think it is one of the most underrated. So the final score I will give to New Kidney in Town is an 8 out of 10. Check it out if you haven't already. Okay, let's move on to the fun facts, and I'll give you just 5 big ones, okay? I'll try not to, have them drag out the video. 1. The title New Kidney in Town comes from the saying New Kid in Town. It's also the name of an Eagles song, which I might do a cover of someday. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Number 2, the song Peter sings and dances to after he tries Red Bull for the first time is the Madonna song Ray of Light, and he dances just like how she danced in the music video. Number 3, the show Peter, Joe, and Quagmire watch is Charles in Charge, a sitcom that aired from 1984 to 1990. You know, the one that had Scott Baio in it. How is he right now? Oh right, he got accused of sexual misconduct as well, and physical assault. Seriously guys, didn't you learn anything from kindergarten? If you don't have permission, keep your hands to yourself. Number 4, the one black nurse Stewie refers to in the episode is actually voiced by Yvette Nicole Brown, from Drake and Josh, Community, and has played Amanda Waller numerous times. I love this woman. She even got nominated for an Emmy in 2021 for her role in the show A Black Lady Sketch Show. Also, yes, that was Drew Carey who voiced himself in that Price is Right segment too. And number 5, Obama at the end of the episode is singing the song Honestly Sincere, which is from the play and film Bye Bye Birdie. Obama is also dressed like Conway Twitty, and while the Obama in the episode is playing the guitar right-handed, Obama in real life is left-handed. Hey, me too! Except I can't really play a guitar to save my life. And unfortunately, this one's just a pretty crappy one. Look at that. There's only like 3 strings on this sucker. God, this was a waste of money. Okay. Those are the fun facts. Now it's time for the jokes.
Stranger things have happened in medicine. I once tried to clone a chicken. The result wound up being a man-sized chicken that was incredibly hostile and ended up escaping from the lab.
Well, we can all thank Dr. Harmon for creating that thing, and also thank him for leading Family Guy to eventually do jokes like this.
I lost my job. I lost my house. My wife left me for a bigger cock.
Cocks are chickens.
I'm better off dead.
I gotta go.
You get 5 minutes to say goodbye to your father.
Sup, Ernie?
Holy moly, that's a huge cock.
I'm very secure, thank you.
Whoa, paramedics, come on down!
Well, I'll give it this. I've seen crazier contestants on The Price is Right.
He's won the car and he's gone. Look at him. Look at him. He's hugging his car. He's hugging his car. Congratulations. Hugging me. And good luck with your search for employment in the future.
That guy's enthusiasm is infectious. And yeah, he did kind of hump the car a little bit. Now it is time for the last joke. Now, remember when I made the joke about me trying Red Bull in the original review and I went crazy? Well, I'll see y'all in hell. Not that bad.